Good morning, everyone, or at least good morning from my neck of the woods. It's about 10:30 on the East Coast here. And I want to welcome you to our second Kindred Community Talk. Thank you so much for your interest and for being here. I'm thrilled to welcome in another guest. The purpose of these talks for me is I want to spend a little bit of time getting to know practitioners whose work I really admire. And our guest is definitely one of those people. So I was thrilled that she was available to speak with us. And I have no doubt that you will get just as much as I will out of this conversation. So a little bit about what to expect. I'm going to chat with our guest for about 30 minutes, and that will include their backstory, as well as strategies for maintaining energy and passion for this work, and any current projects that they want to share about. You may use the chat feature if you would like to submit questions. I will try to keep a half eye on that while we're talking. And then after about 30-35 minutes, I will end our recording, which will be shared with a greater audience. And then we will have our live after party that is unrecorded only for the guests who are here right now today. And that'll be your chance to ask your questions directly to myself and to our guest. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest and read her bio. So we have Hemali Vora, who is an expert holistic practitioner, channel, intuitive energy healer, a spiritual mentor, speaker, and author. Her mission is to empower healthcare workers and caregivers toward radical self-care, unconditional self-love, and reclaiming their power to counter caregiver burnout, overwhelm, and stress. She guides them through their unique legacy blueprint by tapping into their inner wisdom to live an aware, purposeful, and intentional life. According to her, nutrition, movement, emotional, energy, spiritual, and shadow work play a vital role in healing dis-ease, disharmony, pain, overwhelm, burnout, and trauma. She has her master's in physical therapy and additional certifications in Reiki, as well as Akashic Records reading, integrative nutrition, and end-of-life doula. She provides comprehensive support, comfort, and guidance to clients and their families with end-of-life transitions, legacy projects, preparations, and through the bereavement process. She educates communities on the importance of advanced planning for end-of-life to achieve comfort and peace. She hosts virtual death cafes, a space to talk about death and dying. She is a lead author of Sacred Death, 25 Tools for Caregivers, as well as a number of other Amazon bestsellers. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Your bio, it's just so inspiring, the breadth of work and the amount of training and experience that you have and that you will bring to us here.
Well, thank you. As you were reading, I was like, that is a mouthful and a lot going on right there. And that's how I felt. But I've been guided and I've been following my intuition, just wherever I'm led and wherever I'm needed. And that is my intention to be led or to serve people and wherever I'm needed.
And it seems like you likely started small and from one place and then continued to just add on more and more to your amount of services that you are offering.
Exactly. My education is in physical therapy. So I worked at for an agency. So I worked for a nursing home. I also worked with children. To say the least, I've worked with preemie babies to my oldest patient was 103. And what I realized was I love working at the hospital and also home care, and geriatric is my passion, working with elderly. I get so much wisdom. I've learned so much from them and the stories of triumph and struggles. And I've learned so much from my patients and clients.
That's wonderful. And I feel like older adults sometimes are a forgotten population and an underserved population. So I want to thank you for that focus. You do so much work in the realm of self-care that I would love to dig into that topic. So, what are your top 2 or 3 strategies for supporting others through times of intensity?
Um, my first thing that I talk to caregivers or healthcare workers is allowing or giving permission to themselves to taking care of themselves, because we are taught that, we have to give, and there are times where, yes, you cannot say no. It's hard to say no, or you feel that, um, it's so just giving yourself permission to say that I am also important and it's okay to take care of myself. Because again, when you're burnt out and then you go as a healthcare worker or caregiver to take care of your loved ones, you are serving from empty. You cannot give anybody else what you don't have. And it could be love, it could be strength, energy, power, whatever it is, compassion. And so one thing is taking a walk in the woods. And if that's not possible, just taking a walk around the building, taking a walk in your own space, just sitting and allowing. So I teach techniques to meditate and just allowing. It doesn't matter where you are. Sometimes I'm dropping my son off at his classes and I'm sitting in the car and meditating. It doesn't have to be, a space where it's clear, an altar and all those things. You can just, wherever you are, close your eyes and imagine light coming through from above, or just sun rays shining down, bringing its warmth and light. And just once you go into that pause and stillness and allow yourself to feel release. Sometimes I've cried the whole hour or 20 minutes that I've meditated, closed my eyes, because you just need that outlet of that overwhelm and feeling your feelings. It's okay. So that's 2. Other thing is nutrition is also very important, especially when you are sick, especially when you're taking care of someone, because again, you want to be focused. Again, you don't, some food causes fogginess. It causes that high and low in food. So that is also very important, to have something warm, that soul food for you. And it's okay to take care of yourself. I hope that helps.
Thank you. That's lovely. I think sometimes we get a little fixated on self care in terms of, we really have to clear our schedule
Mhm.
and be able to focus in for a full day or for a half day per week or whatever kind of pressure we're putting on ourselves. So I like that you also suggest we can simplify it, and
Mhm.
it maybe doesn't have to last that long, and with a little bit of intention and a pause we can give ourselves that our moments that we need, and that chance to release, because sometimes we're holding on to so much with this work. A lot of us here are death care providers, and there's grief there. I mean, there's so much emotion in the spaces where we provide our support that it's natural that sometimes that's going to accumulate within ourselves. And if we're not mindful about noticing it and cueing, oh, I really need to take a minute and I really need to process this and just sort of let it go, because we're not going to crumble in front of our clients or patients.
Yeah.
Yet we need to provide ourselves the space and opportunity to do so when needed.
Right. And having the ability to say no sometimes. When you really want to say no, it's okay. And then you can come back and help the person if it's in your capacity, or delegating work. We think we have to do it all by ourselves, and it needs village. Really, we need village around us to help us through all these emotions and um, events that happen and occur around for us or with us, right? And so it's very important to And it's okay. Sometimes what happens is I'm so overwhelmed because I have so much to do and I can't decide where, like that one step to take, where to start. I literally leave everything and I go for a walk. And when I come back, my mind is so stable. I'm able to decide what is the priority, what I need to get done. I'm more focused. I'm more clear on what needs to be done. And everything just unfolds in a great way. And
And
I'm
you
not,
can't force that.
no, exactly, exactly. And you can't, and I'm not on my phone. I'm not listening to music. I'm just experiencing the breath. Also, sometimes just breathing in, taking in the fresh air, breathing out, focusing on breath work is also so important because that's what gives you energy and sustains. Also, just listening to birds, looking at trees. Sometimes I hold the trees and ask for energy from the tree, like give me strength. Trees have so much wisdom, right? They're so grounded and rooted. Um, and that's the way, like I teach Reiki and how to take care of yourself through Reiki, through energy work. And and that's what I say. It's like it doesn't matter what's going on outside of you, the chaos and events. It's like as a tree, you stand, you're grounded and you're stable. You can sway with, tornadoes, hurricane, and all that, but you come back to that. It's okay. So bringing that same wisdom within us from outside what happens and what we see.
I saw this cartoon just very recently. Somebody had posted somewhere, and it was two people sitting on a bench outdoors, and one person's on their phone and it's chirping, chirp, 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 all the alerts and noises. And the other person's actually looking at a bird chirping. And, how often do we do that? We think that, oh, I'll just distract myself on social media, or I'll just watch a video for a minute, and then you get sort of sucked into that and you reemerge, usually feeling like more drained often, and feeling like, where did that time go? And you don't feel as rejuvenated as when you just put aside those distractions and allow yourself to be totally unstimulated by those sort of synthetic distractions.
Exactly. I think the little miracles that I would call them, that I see around me. And then the more magic that I see once I focus on that curiosity, what else unfolds. And sometimes I zoom in on some of the little flowers and the moss that grows on the ground. It's like, you know, um, there's this life over there, it's so little that we can't see, but then when you really zoom in and on it, it's so beautiful and unfolding.
Agreed. We have someone who is asking if you feel comfortable sharing where you are more specifically. So this is probably somebody else who's in Maryland, perhaps, and wants to maybe connect.
Yes, I'm in Beltsville, Maryland, closer to Silver Spring, Maryland.
Thank you. Okay, so if you could go back to care for yourself at a younger age, what would you say or do?
I think the one thing I would say to myself is that I'm beautiful, I'm enough, I've done enough, and I will continue to be enough, and to love myself and all its ebbs and flows. And it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. But get up and learn from these mistakes and failures. And world is beautiful. And so be curious and just go out there and look for the miracles that's around you.
That's beautiful. I I can't tell you how many times I hear that fear of enoughness.
Mm.
And in the course, it's often what people will convey initially, at least. They're worried and they feel anxious. And do I know enough? Do I have enough experience? Am I healed enough? Am I strong enough? And it's something that, we really aim to work through with people, because you're here, you're showing up, so you are brave and you are intact and whole wherever you are at this moment. And if you can hang on to that trust and kind of see yourself through it, And I like to encourage people to reframe that, the nerves that come with enoughness, into that's really just proof of your reverence for the work and for what you're aiming to do, your goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm wondering, you mentioned you teach people Reiki for their own self-care. Is there something, some sort of simple practice that you might share with this group as a takeaway that we could try in our own days, or when we're feeling overwhelmed or starting to feel burnt out?
Again, I go back to that space where you just sit and pause and just concentrate on your breathing. You can close your eyes or you can just look out if you want, and just concentrate on your breath. And imagine you're walking on the sand or the ocean, and you're just, as you're breathing in, just listen to the waves as the waves are coming in. You're taking the breath in, and as the waves are going out, you're taking your breath out. And you just sit there and listen to this ocean and think of this ocean, and then you can see the sun rays shining on the ocean water and how it's sparkling and twinkling. You can walk in the water if you wish to, and allow this light to shine, allow this water and light to take you wherever, whatever you need to be shown, wherever you need to go, and just allow. And imagine this light comes from the highest heaven, and that it's just allow the light to take you through whatever journey, that peace and calm, and just imagine this light is just around you, it's going through you and grounding you. You can also imagine, if you're sitting on a grass or anywhere, imagine the light from Mother Earth is coming from the bottom of your feet, your bottom, just filling you up, filling your heart, because that is the space usually we're suffering, we're in pain, we're hurting. So allowing that light from above to come through and come to your heart space, and the earth coming to the heart space, and then letting that light expand within you and around you. And just be in that space of light. And just breathe in and breathe out. And it's okay to think, when you're in meditation or in that quiet space, people think that it has to be empty, it has to be quiet. We think 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. You know, we would be enlightened if we didn't have thoughts. It's okay. Sometimes I think about, oh, I need to go to Costco, I need to go do this, and it's okay. So allow the thoughts, and when you're aware of those thoughts, you just breathe in again, go back to the light, and get back into it. So it could be this dance of going in and out, and it's okay, because your mind is trying to still it's, your mind is like monkey brain, right? It's just all these thoughts, all these things. So just allow it to come into that space of quietness and pause. Yeah, that would be one thing. And if you ever feel overwhelmed, just for a second to just breathe and be in that pause. Excuse yourself. Sometimes I go in the bathroom and I do this. I just breathe. And yes, if it's, smells, I have like oil or something that I smell, but you just kind of breathe in and breathe out and just be in that quiet space. Get your composer and then kind of go out.
I feel calmed just listening to you explain it. Thank you. That was lovely. And I like that your advice, you're not failing if your to-do list is popping up, and you can notice it and see it. And then, I mean, sometimes I feel like if I'm setting aside time to just be or pause or reflect, not necessarily any sort of formal meditation, just a pause, like a quiet time, like you mentioned. And if I know that my mind has a tendency to do that, sometimes I'll just keep a pad of paper so that I can just jot it down. And that way I don't feel like I need to hold on to it. It's there, but I don't need to pay attention to it right now. Just get it out, put it down, and then kind of go back. And like you said, coming in and out is totally fine.
And I want to add one more thing. Another, like, because you just mentioned about having pad and paper, I mean, pencil or pen, um, something called thought dumping. And what it is just having, when I've done this, when I woke up, I was going through a really hard time. Uh, Things were just not working out. And every morning I would wake up and I would just write down everything that is just racing through my head, every word. And my mind is racing faster than my hand, of course. And you just write down, you cry it out, whatever it is, whatever, however you're feeling, it's okay. And then write down 10 things you're grateful for. And it could be just breathing right now, having roof over your head right now, being able to walk right now. Whatever it is that you're grateful for, people around you, things around you, just um, write 10 things you're grateful for so that you have already dumped all the thoughts that were bothering you. So now you can start your day with that emptiness, so to speak. Like you've had this conversation with the universe on the paper. And you can do the same thing before you go to bed. Because what happens is all the thoughts that come in the morning, it's you going to bed with those thoughts and the worries. And, you can't worry about things that you cannot fix. So that is, I think, it really helps many people.
Yeah, the idea of letting it surface and purging yourself versus trying to stuff it down and get through your day and muddle through, and then it just piles up internally. Thank you. Those are great. So, would you like to share with us a little bit more about Sacred Death and explain the book and how you came up with the idea to write it and all your collaborators and the topics that are included in it?
Sure. So, same thing with end of life doula. I took the class in 2020, May. And in 2020, I was on this, or 2019, I was on this. I want to know who my guides are and I want to have communication with them. I want to see them. I know so many friends in healing world that are able to do that. And so, and you can read that in the introduction. But a little bit about that is that one morning I woke up just to use the bathroom, come out, I felt the presence. And so every day I would do meditation to connect with my guides. And um, almost 5, 6 months, so to speak. And after that, so one morning I woke up, I saw this presence and I knew it was this grand presence, but I got scared. So it goes away. They don't want to scare you. And so I just sat in meditative state and like, can you tell me at least who you are? Like, what's your name? Who is my guide? And he said, Angel of Death. And I thought that was interesting. Um, I thought about it. I was like, wow, are you sure? And, I just heard like, yeah, like, that funny feeling, like they were laughing. Um, And then I looked up online. I am from India. I was born there. As a teenager, I came to US. And so in Hinduism, we do have God of a death. He's called Yam. So there's so many stories about him that I've heard through, my childhood that so I started looking and then I saw there were so many cultures. Like I saw 25 um, underworld gods or of death and underworld um, angels in them. So I started looking into different, um, started reading about these different gods and angels of death. So to see, and then I started thinking about my whole main thing is that coming from Hinduism, I've been very close to Christianity. I've gone to Christian school. My kids have been in Christian school. So it's like two kind of faith around me, but knowing that there is nothing wrong or right or good or bad, like everything is one. Um, and so my focus on this book was about bringing in different authors from all over around with different faiths, with different aspects, and how, so it's like my story, they've written their story, how death has impacted them and how they shifted that, how they took that opportunity to heal themselves, grieve, and whatever it took. And now they're helping other people with um, their grief and loss and what they do. So I have someone from Australia. I have an author from New Zealand. I have author from, he's in US now, but from Hawaiian background, South American background. They do midwifery. And then I have someone from India who wrote, she's Canadian, but has lived in India for 40 years. And she's been doing the study of Bhagavad Gita, which is the scripture of Hinduism. And that's all it is about, the belief that there is no death, that you're never born. Your soul is like when you're a baby and then you're growing up, you know, how you change your body. And that's how, when you die or transition, it's like you're changing into another body. So that is one aspect. So I wanted to bring in different aspects of, I have one author who's written about her dad as a, in military, and how do you get in the process of getting his ashes or the burial at the National Cemetery, and what is the procedure? How can you get around doing that? So that is very interesting in that. So yeah, different viewpoint. In when I did end of life doula, I didn't know how. I was intuitively led to end of life doula because I kept asking my guides and them, like, are you sure? I already am doing so much with physical therapy and nutrition, energy work. And they showed how my life has been. And I used to, as a teenager too, I used to say there's something about death in me and I don't know what it is. And so this way, what I took away from the class was that I definitely wanted to talk um, a little bit more, give permission to people to talk about death openly and everything that surrounds that. And when we did the project on legacy work or dignity therapy, it was just this profound, that aha moment when I was interviewing some friends that were not at end of life, but we always as person feel like we haven't done enough, or the legacy has to be this grand organization where you're changing countries or, you know, this community. But really, it's like even a smile that you give to somebody that's walking by you, that's your legacy that you leave behind. And so that, those two things were my passion. And that's a lot I talked about, but yeah.
Thank you for giving us such a lovely overview. It's wonderful that you have pulled together so many voices who can share so many stories in that beautiful book. Do you want to talk at all for our last question, just briefly, about death cafes?
Absolutely. We hold it, it's free, it's virtual, every other Thursday. And so today we have um, the Death Cafe. It's 7:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. And myself and Sherry Burns, I met her through End of Doula class. We both hosted together, and she's in Santa Fe.
Wonderful. And how can people reach you? Find you?
If you can email me, or if you just get in, any of my social media. I am in and out of them, but email would be the best. And I can possibly give my phone number. You can text me.
Okay, great. And your main website is your name, correct?
It is.
HemaliVora.com.
Yes. It doesn't have anything about end of life doula as of yet. I am shifting and changing. I have just hired someone, so it's in progress.
Yes, there's a lot of evolving, I can
Yeah.
tell. Yes. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who came here live. And I will be sharing this recording, and we're now going to turn off the recording so we can have our after party. And I will be sending out information about our next Kindred Community Talk, which will be in 2 months, featuring another fascinating guest. So take care, everybody.